So depending on what you have, like props wise, I would recommend kind of a way to have two sorts of blocks. If or two blocks. If you don't have blocks like books or pillows or something similar, could work. And then some other pillows or blankets or really anything and everything you've got. Yeah, and I think it's always good to just have it nearby. And I've got Fizzgig, my 14-year-old Jack Russell, who's had a busy few days of barking at the people working on the house in various manners. So hopefully he's gotten that out of his system. The class I taught at 5:30, I taught like as I was petting him, which was a lot of fun. So yeah, hopefully he's worn himself out at this point. And I know Julie's still gathering things, but we can go ahead and find a place on our back that feels comfortable. And you're welcome to support yourself in any way that you see fit, whether it's building a little nest with blocks and pillows, or maybe it's just stretching out wide and taking up lots of space. That may be just what you need today. Hi, Emily. Welcome. We're glad you're here. We're getting settled into a space on our back that feels comfortable. I've got a pillow from my bed and two blocks. Hi. And it's really finding a space that you feel comfortable in, if that's being supported by your props, or sometimes it feels good just to take up space. And take an extra moment to rock your head and hips, wrist and ankle side to side. Just feel that you can settle into this shape a little more comfortably. And then let's start with a big breath in. And a big breath out. Do that again. Breathe in. Sip in a little more air. Breathe out. One more round. Biggest breath in. Sip in a little more. Even more. Open your mouth, release. Take these first few moments and scan your body. Take any adjustments to find more comfort and ease. Scan your breath. Turn your attention inward and notice your internal landscape. Your peaks and valleys. Soft and rough edges. Notice any thoughts that are scrolling or rolling by. And just like that, choose breath. And allow your breath to soften, to smooth out.
And you become particularly more interested in your exhale. Float through the entire fabric of your body's natural release system. Savoring, slowing down your exhalation. And watching just how easy it is to let go. How necessary it is to empty out completely. Keep your exhales just as they are. Slowly start to peel yourself up off any props and lie back down on the floor flat. Push them all to the side. Hug your knees into your chest and draw little circles in one direction. Then the other. And roll over to your left side. Pause here for a moment. Use your left arm as a pillow and breathe softly into the left side body. Press your hand down and slowly peel up. Make your way into a tabletop shape. Face whatever direction feels like home. Give yourself lots of space. Bring your knees a little wider, hands a little wider, and intuitively move your body. It can look formally like cat and cow, or informally like whatever you need it to. As if you were taking this shape and these movements for the very first time. What do you notice without any judgments or prior decisions about how you should feel? A few more breaths. Use them to create balance and symmetry. Neutral tabletop. A little more flow before we settle. Inhale, stay here. Exhale, child's pose. Slow it down. Give yourself time to melt your heart to the floor. Inhale, draw yourself forward into tabletop. Exhale, slowly melt into child's. A few more times just this way. If you would like to add in downward facing dog on your next exhale, you can. And if that feels like way too much effort, continue to move between tabletop and child's. Inhale brings us back into table either way. We can alternate between these two, maybe three shapes. Slow down your exhales. Gift yourself time to feel into these shapes. One more round and we'll pause in our child's pose. And you're welcome to keep the shins parallel or bring the big toes to touch and the knees wide. Melt your hips down to the floor. Breathe into the backs of your lungs. Crawl your hands forward and over to your left. Breathe long into your right. Child's pose. Cleansing breath. Walk your hands more forward and over to your right. Breathe long into your left. Child's pose. Tabletop. Move your body as needed. Cross your ankles. Bring your seat to your heels and extend your feet forward. Tarasana. So place the soles of your feet together and slide the feet a little wider apart so you've got more of a diamond shape. This is the first of our longer holds, so you're welcome to support your knees, support the hips. Do what you can so you can rest your forehead on something solid without creating too much weight or tension in the hips or knees. If you're almost there, you can always make your hands into two little gentle fists and rest the head down there. Breathe into the backs of your lungs. Slow, smooth exhales. And if your mind wanders, notice and simply bring it back. Few more moments here. Fold a little deeper into the shape. And a millimeter is a really big deal. It's like a bajillion cells, so give yourself credit. roll to seated. Move your props to the side. Hug your knees into your chest and wrap your right forearm around your shin. Extend the left arm to the left and start to turn and twist open towards the back of the room. Keep pressing your sitting bones down into the floor. Switch sides. Wrap your right arm around your shins. Open up and twist to your right. Press down, lift up a little longer, taller, twist deeper. Untwist. Curl into a ball, drop your head. If you wanted a little extra pressure, you could bring your palms to the back of your head and just gently rock the neck side to side. Wide-legged seated forward fold. Extend your legs long. If you wanted to turn sideways on your mat so you could protect your ankles, you can. And sometimes that's protecting them from the couch, or from the carpet, which can be itchy or tickly, right? Sit up tall and come into a forward fold. Use whatever props you've got to support yourself. Unless you threw them too far, really. You gotta come out of that a little bit. Build an incline. Relax your head down and support it on something. Breathe into the backs of your lungs. Slow, steady exhales. And what we're doing is layering on these tools that get us into a more relaxed state, our parasympathetic state. This is the place where we rest and rinse and digest our food, our emotions, our day. When we lengthen the exhale, breathe into the backs of our lungs and rest our head down. We're letting our nervous system know that we are safe. There's no tigers lurking outside our door or in our inboxes. We can truly just soften it and be. Anytime the mind tells you that something else is important, you say, "Thank you for reminding me." And come right back to the exhale. And notice how over time you find more space to fold forward, more ways to surrender into this shape. Five more breaths. Be easy. Slowly sit up. Before moving the legs or anything else, just notice how that release feels. Move your props to the side. Use your hands to lift the knees. The legs have been still for a while. Big windshield wiper side to side. If you want to increase this, you can look over your shoulders, away from the knees. Tabletop. Take the next 30 seconds or so to move the body as you choose. If another down dog is calling to you without too much effort, take that on. Low lunge right side. And some blocks or pillows can bring the floor closer to you. Low lunge half splits. Just a few rounds of shifting the weight forward and back. This is for the hips as much as it is for the hamstrings. Dragon's lunge. 10 or so breaths here. So long enough to settle in, but not too long to procrastinate. Support yourself as needed. Soften your hands. Wiggle your chin and release your jaw. A nice slow exhale lets the left hip flexors know that it's okay to soften. Half pigeon. And a variation of this that I'm a huge fan of, especially while we're in our homes, is this more yin style deer pose. And you bend your right knee and left knee both to 90-degree angles. Parallel the right shin and the left thigh bone with the top of the mat. And I've dropped down to this right hip, so I protected my knee and hip on the ground. And from here, fold forward over the right shin. And then depending on how I feel, I can straighten my left leg. But I've already protected my right ankle, knee, and hip bone, those super mobile joints. And if you try this and absolutely hate it, feel free to take the pigeon pose of your dreams. Breathe into the backs of the lungs. Super sweet exhales. And after a few moments, you're still struggling or forcing or hanging on in the shape. Let's invite a little mantra or affirmation. And first notice where you're really feeling it and struggling. Like, check. And then on your inhale, tell that tight little spot in the hips, let. And on your exhale, tell that same spot, go. And with each exhale, you have permission to soften. Inhale, left. Exhale, go. Five more breaths. Surrender into this shape. Move slow. Take the next 30 seconds, maybe even a full minute. And release the side. Move through tabletop, down dog, any other shapes. No matter if you know their name or not. And when you feel ready, dragon's lunge, left side. Support this opening, this side as needed. Ten full breaths. Half pigeon, deer pose. Take your time. Give the left side the support it needs. there's something about like keeping a pillow or something in between my leg and my belly that just feels really safe. Wiggle your chin. Release your jaw. And use your tools. Long exhale into the backs of the lungs. Adding in the mantra, inhale, let. Exhale, go. And when you notice your mind is thinking or list making or planning, say thank you and come right back. Five more breaths. Effortless. Slowly release. Take your time in all the movements and shapes. There's one more opportunity for a down dog if you choose it. And we'll all come to a space lying down on our backs. Hug your knees into the chest, draw little circles one direction and then the other. Depending on what props you have, if you have a block, you'll use the block at its lowest setting to start. If you have a more firm bolster, maybe you just use the bolster the whole time. If you're using a bunch of, kind of fluffy, deflated pillows, you just stack as many as you need to. And we're not going for our biggest, fullest back bend because it's a little late at night and I love you all and want you to sleep. It's really just a gentle lifting of the hips. And breathe. floating along the fabric of your exhale. If it feels safe and if you're able to, turn the block up to its medium setting or lift the hips just a little bit higher. Again, we're not going for fullest bridge expression. Take a full body stretch. Extend the legs long. Extend the arms over your head, and your hip points are now the highest point in your body. Breathe from the tops of the toes all the way up the tops of the thighs, tops of the lungs and the heart. Option to draw your right knee in towards the chest, grow even longer through the left side. Extend your right. Hug in your left leg. Grow long through your right side. Full body stretch. Bend your knees, place your feet flat on the floor. Press down and lift your hips, lower them down to the ground. Drop your knees towards center and one another, resting. Walk the feet wide apart. Extend your arms out wide like a T, and then give yourself a big bear hug. Cross one arm over, the other arm under. Breathe into the backs of the lungs. Breathe so big you create space behind the heart, in between the shoulder blades. Even longer. Exhale, let's all that tension go. Switch the cross in your arms. Release your arms. Roll over to your right side and pause for a moment. Sit up, but just for a moment. And create some sort of vertical structure on your mat. It could be one bolster. Again, I don't have one, so I'm going to use 2 blocks. A pillow, and then this extra pillow kind of softens the block. In terms of your low back is next to your contraption. Bend your knees, place your feet mat's distance apart. Sit up tall in your spine, drop your knees to your left, and continue to turn and twist all the way around until your upper torso finds a comfortable way to relax on your pillows, bolster. More of a twist, you can keep turning and rest the right ear. If that's too much, simply rest the left instead. Breathe into the back. few more moments here. Soften into this shape. Untwist. Take a moment and sit. Notice right versus left. Switch sides. Place your feet max distance apart. Sit up tall. Drop your knees, torso, everything to the right. Rest whichever ear feels better. Allow yourself to be supported. Slow exhale into the back. Untwist. Take just a moment to sit with and notice. Supta Baddha Konasana. And you can keep this back area just as it is. I prefer just a little bit of incline. It helps support my back a little bit. If you prefer a flat back and a bolster under your knees, that is a really good option as well. Find a version of this that is okay to be in for a few minutes. float along the fabric of your exhale, softening more and more each time. Move towards a shape of final rest. It may look like simply extending the legs long, keeping the back elevated. Or coming all the way down off what you've built and sliding the bolster underneath your knees. Take a little extra time and care in setting up your place of rest. Let's take one more collective breath in. Sip in a little more. Let it go. Shavasana. Deepest rest. Breathe in.
Let it go. And still slightly in your state of rest, ask yourself, with all that I've released and let go, what is it I'd like to fill up with in its place? And it may be a word or a color, or a sparkle. You decide how you rise from this practice. As you breathe deeper, invite in movements to your fingertips, toe tips. And feel this rotation in the wrists and ankles. Full body stretch through the arms and legs. In whatever way you choose, come to a seat. Face whichever direction feels like home. Allow the palms to touch like prayer. Lift your heart to your thumb knuckles. And you can turn your head down slightly or even close your eyes. And take a quick scan of your body, noticing how it feels a little different. Scan your breath. Notice what's shifted. Check in with your thoughts. See what remains. In a moment of gratitude for all the things about us that remains the same. That no matter what we go through in life, there is a part of us that always is. We'll seal this practice with 3 ohms. You can join me or listen. Breathe in. My truest essence, my light, sees and honors yours. Thank you all for coming, sharing your practice and your light and breath with me.